Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're joining us today. This is a place where we dive deep into self-growth, motivation, and uncovering the power within us all. Today we're talking about something that's often misunderstood, introversion. You might have heard a lot of misconceptions about what it means to be an introvert, but by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how introversion can be your biggest strength. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Let's start with the basics. Introversion is often wrongly linked to shyness. People think introverts don't like people or socializing, but that's not the case. Introversion is simply a preference for solitude or smaller, more intimate social settings. It's about where we recharge. So, does that mean introverts are antisocial? Absolutely not. Introverts thrive in small groups of close friends and family, the people they feel most comfortable with. Have you ever found yourself at a big party, feeling drained and craving the peace of your own space? That's a classic trait of the social introvert. How many of you have experienced that? Here's the first sign of an introvert: the preference for deep, meaningful conversations over small talk. Instead of chit-chat with strangers, introverts tend to seek out close-knit, authentic interactions. If you find yourself avoiding the big crowd to have a real conversation with a single person, you're most likely an introvert. It's not about avoiding people. It's about quality over quantity. What type of conversations do you crave? The superficial ones or the ones that really make you think? I bet many of you prefer the depth. Let's talk about the thinking introvert next. These are the people who dive deep into their thoughts, often getting lost in their imagination and creativity. Do you find yourself daydreaming, creating whole worlds in your mind, or analyzing situations for hours after they happen? These are classic signs of the thinking introvert. They are not antisocial, rather they are mentally absorbed in their own thoughts. They find fulfillment in their internal world. The question is, how often do you lose track of time when you're thinking? Isn't it amazing how our minds can be so powerful, yet sometimes we overlook this strength? How many of you struggle with anxiety in social situations? Well, anxious introverts often feel uncomfortable in larger groups because they worry about their social skills or how they're being perceived. They might even overthink what they said long after an interaction is over. This type of introvert tends to retreat into solitude, not because they hate people, but because they find social situations overwhelming. Do you relate to that feeling of dread before a social event? Have you ever felt your heart race just thinking about a large crowd or a new social setting? Sign number 3, overthinking everything. If you catch yourself replaying conversations, wondering how you came across, or worrying about what others thought of you, you might be an anxious introvert. The fear of social failure can lead to intense rumination. Does it sound familiar? Let me ask you, how often do you catch yourself overthinking an interaction, even after it's long gone? That's your mind at work, creating a buffer of safety by analyzing everything. Now, let's discuss the restrained introvert. These individuals are deliberate in everything they do. When making decisions or engaging in social activities, they take their time. They think before they act and are cautious, not because they're afraid, but because they want to ensure everything aligns with their inner values. Does this sound like you? Do you prefer taking your time to think things through rather than rushing into things? Isn't there power in patience? Isn't there power in making choices that feel right for you? Sign number 4 of an introvert: taking time to act. If you're someone who weighs every option, analyzes every detail, and considers every angle before making a decision, then you may be a restrained introvert. You're not indecisive. You're methodical. This strength allows you to make better decisions in the long run. Do you ever catch yourself pausing before jumping into something new? That's not hesitation. That's wisdom. Let's talk about solitude for a moment. Solitude is a recurring theme among introverts, but not because they don't want to be around others. Instead, introverts seek out time alone to recharge and reflect. If you find peace in your own company, if being alone gives you energy rather than draining you, you're likely an introvert. Do you enjoy long walks by yourself, or maybe getting lost in a book or a project that consumes your thoughts? It's in these moments of solitude that introverts truly come alive. Can you see the beauty in this? The power of finding energy in stillness? Now let me ask you this. How do you feel when you're asked to speak in front of a crowd? Introverts often dread speaking in large settings because it drains their energy, leaving them feeling exhausted. But here's the twist. Introverts can be incredibly powerful public speakers. They simply need time to prepare, reflect, and choose their words carefully. You might not crave the spotlight, but when you speak, it's impactful. Does that sound like you? Do you prepare ahead of time? And when you do speak, is it with depth and purpose? Here's another sign of introversion: the need for a small, trusted circle. Introverts often prefer to keep their circle tight and filled with people who understand them. They don't need a massive group of friends. Instead, they focus on cultivating deep, meaningful relationships. Are you someone who would rather spend time with a few close friends than go to a big party? It's not about rejecting people. It's about finding connections that are real and fulfilling. What does your circle look like? How do they contribute to your growth? Let's dive into a myth that needs busting. Introverts are not always shy. They can be social, just in different settings. The difference lies in where they get their energy from. Extroverts gain energy from social interactions, while introverts need solitude to recharge. So, do you feel drained after a big event, but energized by a quiet evening at home? That's your introversion at play. It's not a weakness. It's a unique way of interacting with the world. One of the greatest strengths of introverts is their deep thinking. You're not just floating through life. You're reflecting, analyzing, and often thinking about ways to improve yourself and the world around you. Do you ever find yourself thinking about the bigger picture, thinking about what you can contribute to the world? This is the power of introversion, the ability to reflect and grow from within. It's a power that can drive you toward your greatest achievements. And there you have it. Introversion isn't a limitation. It's a unique superpower that can help you unlock your true potential. I hope today's video helped you see introversion in a whole new light. If you felt connected to what we talked about, don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know which introvert trait stood out to you the most. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and remember, the world needs your quiet strength, so keep shining. I'll see you in the next video.